Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Creating Conscious Relationships. I'm Catherine.
I'm John.
And tonight we're here to talk to you guys about acceptance in relationships.
Yes, we are.
And really it started because last week we were on here and we were talking about expectations.
Yes.
And when it comes to expectations, learning how to accept things that are showing up as they're showing up is a huge part of it.
Yes, and not only accepting things in your relationship, but it's accepting yourself, accepting where other people are, accepting life, accepting
How life is showing up.
limitlessness or limitedness. Right?
Yeah.
It's really all encompassing.
Yeah.
So let's dig into it.
Yeah, so acceptance. When I think of acceptance, to me, here's the thing. I used to resist a lot. I didn't want to accept a lot. And I feel like many of us go through this in our lives where we kind of have, like our ego, the way that it kind of shows up is it says, this is okay and this is not. This is good and this is bad. These people are right. These people are wrong. And it just creates this whole narration around it. And essentially says, I don't have to accept any of this stuff that I've deemed as being wrong, bad, not worthy enough, or whatever. And then we start having this kind of pattern of suffering that starts to show up in our lives because, of course, life does not just work out the way we want it to all of the time. People don't show up the way we want them to all of the time. So...
Yeah, and I think what we do is we bypass, and instead of accepting that people have a past, or accepting that this person doesn't see things the way I see them, we get caught in this idea. This goes back to expectations, where we expect everybody to see things the same way we see them, instead of accepting the way they're seeing them.
Yeah, and it makes it really interesting, right? Because I'm just going to use music as an example, but I might hear a song and I'm just like, wow, this song, it hits me in the heart, it touches me, it creates this big emotional feeling inside of me, and I share it with him and he's just like, yeah, that's a good song. And so it's accepting that people are going to receive things and experience things differently because we've all grown through many different experiences and many different relationship styles, and we've all created kind of judgments or thoughts, ideas, and beliefs about what the world means for us. So when you get into a relationship with someone, then it's learning to understand what have their beliefs taught them about life, what has their upbringing taught them about relationships, taught them about how to express themselves or how to navigate difficult conversations or emotions or whatever, because it's all influencing and it's all showing up now in the relationship.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of put a disclaimer out there. We're not saying you need to be accepting of everybody and everything of all time, right? Have an understanding, accept where they're coming from. You don't have to accept being in a bad relationship or somebody that's abusive or whatever the case may be. But accept where you're at and acknowledge all of those feelings and work through those emotions. But be accepting where you are. Right? Good, bad, or indifferent. We can fight against it. We can fight against, you may want it to be a nice sunny day and it rains and you can get all upset about it, but you still have to accept you can't change the weather. The weather just is the way it is, and it's perfectly the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a really good point there about going within. So when life is showing up or relationships are showing up in ways that you don't prefer, to allow yourself to go within and be with the emotions that are coming up. I think when it comes to acceptance, we think, so what, I have to accept this reality that I don't like? Well, you don't have to, not just yet. Accept the fact that you have emotions that are coming up. You have ideas or plans or thoughts or beliefs about how this was supposed to be, and it's not showing up how you thought it was supposed to be. And in that, now you have grief, now you have sadness, now you have fear, now maybe you have judgment or shame or whatever it might be that's coming up. And so instead of trying to change this external situation that's showing up, you're going within yourself and you're going, I'm accepting of the fact that I'm feeling sad right now, or I'm accepting of the fact that I'm in grief or I'm in anger or whatever it might be. And instead of trying to push yourself through those emotions or even becoming those emotions, you allow yourself to just be with them, right? Allow yourself to feel your way through them.
Yeah, accept those emotions, right? Accept every piece of that and work through it.
Yeah.
That's...
And I mean, I kind of equate it, I use bathroom analogies a lot, but I kind of equate it to using the bathroom, right? When we have to use the bathroom, we're not going, well, I didn't want to have to use the bathroom right now. This isn't fair. I shouldn't have to use the bathroom right now. I know sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I just peed an hour ago. I shouldn't have to pee again. But it is just what it is, right? And so we take ourselves to the bathroom and we do what we need to do in the bathroom, and we're not judging it. We're not asking ourselves, why is this showing up? Is it because I drank water yesterday that I have to pee right now? What does this mean about me? Or what belief systems am I carrying that's making me have to use the bathroom or whatever? We don't do any of that. We feel the urge, we go, we release it, we flush, and we're done with it. Yeah. And we can do the same with our emotions, where we feel that urge of maybe the anger is coming up or maybe the sadness is coming up. And then you take yourself and you sit with yourself, you be with what those emotions are, release it, flush it away, and then carry on with your day.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people that aren't, we're all perfectly where we're supposed to be. And we have to accept that. Yes, it's a hard pill to swallow, and it's one of those things that's like, yes, but I thought I was going to be a movie star, or I thought I was going to be this, or I thought I was going to do that, whatever the case may be. But this is what you're doing, and this is what the universe, God, wanted you to be doing. Yeah. So accept that, own that, and then start looking into all these little things that, well, why didn't I? Or why didn't this happen? And you can look at it, and a lot of the time it's going to come back to, well, it just didn't happen because I wasn't motivated enough, or it wasn't the right time, or things just didn't align. But there's always a little more to that. But you can be accepting of all of those little things.
Yeah. And
just be happy where you are with your body, with your mind, and you can always work towards being that much better.
Yeah. And story time. But as you say that, one of our experiences that we went through together, which actually kind of led to us doing these creating conscious relationship conversations in a very long and convoluted kind of way. When we went to do our first Camino experience, and our son started having seizures, and we cut the experience short, and we came back to make sure that his health was going to be okay, I was in such a state of resistance about all of it. I couldn't understand why it happened the way that it happened. I couldn't accept the fact that I had this calling to do the Camino, and then we were landing right back home with nothing had shifted, nothing had changed. Couldn't understand why our son had these seizures, and then even with all the medical testing and everything, it was like no real concrete answers to tell us this is exactly what happened. And so I was questioning a lot, and I was feeling a lot of really big emotions that were coming up. And that's where I made the choice, and you helped me with that. But I made the choice to go, okay, let me feel everything that I have been resisting myself from feeling that has contributed to this happening in our lives right now. Because in my understanding, it's when we hold on to beliefs or emotions or experiences that say, I don't deserve things that I want, or God punishes me, or God abandons me, or whatever, then we start to create scenarios outside of ourselves where we can have those emotions and those beliefs reaffirmed to us. And that's essentially what happened for me with the first Camino. Was I had all of my worst fears, beliefs, and thoughts and limitations that I held about myself, about my relationships, about love, about God. It all showed up for me so that I could actually start to work my way through it. And I was in resistance. I was like,
Well, that whole experience was a lot of non-accepting. And like, as we're riding in this taxi and your child's lips are turning blue, you don't want to accept, like,
yeah,
this can't be the end. Like, it was that impactful. It was just like, you're not accepting of any of it. What's going on? You're almost in loss.
yeah,
And every step after that was like, I think there was points where we were kind of in disbelief, right? Like, we're in this hospital in this foreign country, and we're really not accepting that this is happening. This is not supposed to be this way.
yeah,
And it was very surreal. And then there were steps after that where it was like, oh, well, maybe we can continue on and maybe this will be okay and whatever. And then Odin had another seizure and was like, okay, there's something telling us we need to accept that this is where this is at, because it was just a strong message to, like, no, accept this.
yeah,
And move forward.
yeah.
And then when we did, but everything after that was easy, right? Like, so our travel after that and getting back here,
it was
absolutely
seamless.
perfect.
Yes.
But it wasn't until we accepted what was going on
Yes.
that things became easy. And I think that's a good thing for people to understand is you can know, you can be in a bad situation and accept it, and things will start to transcend and get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you fight against it and you're like, no, I don't believe this situation, I don't believe this is going to be this way, and you're just going to keep attracting that.
Yeah, it starts to create more
keeps
resistance, right? And the energy of resistance, it can perpetuate, right? So then, I mean, when you say that the rest of it was seamless, like we were able to get flights home, we were able to travel across the country with really no plan in place and figure it all out. We were able to get everywhere that we needed to go. We had strangers that were showing up at the right times to help us out. And so in our acceptance, we ended up bringing in more things that kind of made it seem more like a miracle that was actually happening for us. And then it was the after effects of all of those emotions. Everything, and here's the thing, I accepted this is the reality, we need to go home. You accepted this is the reality that we need to go home. And then we came home, and that's where I couldn't accept it anymore.
Yeah. No, I think there was parts, even along the way, that you were not in acceptance.
Yeah.
But you knew.
I knew, but there was a lot that I was trying to, like, push down or suppress for the time being, because I didn't want to react that way in front of Odin, and I didn't want to influence his beliefs or his thoughts about himself or anything like that during that entire experience, which I wasn't always perfect at. So, and then even coming home, there was just so much.
Yeah, that's when your real journey started with that piece, right? With the accepting of, okay, everything that wasn't because it didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen.
Yeah, the way that I planned it to
the
be
expectation
in my mind. Yes, it was. I had an expectation of what it was supposed to look like. So when it didn't look like that, then it was a complete overhaul of my entire life, where I was questioning absolutely everything and everything I'd ever been taught, everything I'd ever believed. I was like, I need this to make sense. And in that, I started unraveling a lot. And then you ended up having a similar experience when I went on the Camino. And there was a lot that you needed to accept.
Yeah.
So do you want to share about that experience?
Well, just accepting the fact that I was not, I wouldn't say I wasn't a whole person, but I wasn't really sharing, I wasn't talking to people like this, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't sharing my knowledge. I wasn't sharing my gifts to the world. I wasn't expressing myself. So I was very limited in my existence at that point.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I very open, very, whatever, cordial to people, etc., etc. But there was still more that I could give. And it wasn't until, that when you actually went on the Camino, then I was like, wow, I need to accept my journey, and I need to speak to people.
Yeah.
And accept that, not in the limited way, because I do that on a regular basis, but in a more impactful and passionate way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think for a long time you were just kind of in a state of, well, they'll just know it.
Yeah.
People will just know what I mean.
Yeah.
People will just know what I mean.
Well, it's that expectation, right? I expect that everybody should be this way. And it's like, not until I started digging into myself did I realize, no, nobody is this way. Everybody is somewhat an individual, but we all do these same things. We all have these perspectives, and we all have these positionalities, and we all have these expectations, but we don't talk about them to our partners or to our friends or whatever.
Yeah.
We just think that they should know.
And I really wish that people did talk more openly like that. I remember when I went to the meditation retreat, we were all sitting down at dinner and people were having conversations about kind of some hot topics that were happening at the time. And one person was like, oh, that's interesting. When you say that, it really triggers this in me. And the person was like, oh, I'm sorry. And she's like, no, it's good. It's good that I have the awareness that this is coming up right now, and I need to pay attention to this thing that's coming up. And it just changed the entire conversation to be able to just openly with strangers, because we were all strangers at that point, but to just sit and say, yeah, this is what's being triggered in me. This is what my experience has been. This is why it's being triggered. There's no finger pointing. There's no blaming. Everybody's very just accepting of what everyone else's experience was and has been, and what comes up with them because of the conversations that were happening. And I think if we could all be a little bit more like that, because there's a lot that we don't say because we're afraid other people aren't going to accept me.
Right.
If I speak this truth, they're not going to accept me.
Yeah, and even though the person that you're speaking to or whatever is thinking the same thing, we're all having these same thoughts.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really does take that courage to put it out there and go, hey, whatever that vulnerable piece that you're speaking to or from is, to put it out there and say, hey, I'm trying to share this.
Yeah.
There was one thing that we were talking about earlier was about, the hard times about accepting things, like we're accepting where people are at in their journey, or accepting when people pass away. And these are very tough things that it's very hard for people to understand that. But it's like, when you see somebody suffering, it is hard to accept that. It is absolutely hard to sit and watch a child, a loved one, whatever, be in sorrow or sadness or whatever,
state of suffering.
Right? But there's a piece in us that has to accept that is where they need to be. And we have to accept that, as much as, yes, life is great and birth is great, death is there too, and we have to accept that is the fact.
Yeah.
And I always, live while you're living, but accept these things not as a bad thing. Accept them as they're just part of the process.
Yeah. Just a part of the cycle.
Yeah.
And yet, at the same time, understanding that when you do lose someone, and you are in a state of grief, or you are witnessing someone who's going through an addiction and you're just really wanting to get them out of the addiction, whatever emotions you have around that, whether it's the grief that's coming up, or there's fear that's coming up, or maybe you're angry at God because God took your person away from you, or whatever it might be, that you're accepting of that too. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I feel like we prolong a lot of our emotions by just being in resistance with the fact that we're feeling the way that we're feeling. But when we can allow ourselves to accept, this is just how I feel right now. It's not going to last forever. It does feel like it, especially with grief. It does feel like it's just going to last forever. But eventually, you might have a moment where there's a little bit of happiness there. There's a little bit of laughter there. And then the grief comes right back in. It's like waves. And that's okay. Accepting that that's a part of the process, that's a part of the divine plan, it's a part of our experience as being human here, is feeling those emotions and allowing ourselves to express those emotions in whatever way feels best to express them.
Yeah, and maybe to back up a little bit, because I think we're went really deep into the feels of acceptance with, like, death is probably the hardest thing, or addiction or whatever. Like, seeing somebody sad and upset is very, very difficult to accept, because I know guys, we want to be the hero, right? We want to fix what is wrong. How can I fix it? What can I do? Da, 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 da. But there's sometimes where we need to just accept that, your partner or whatever, this is where they're at. And offer your support, but accept that. And I think when it comes to relationships, we need to also look at, like, it's having the acceptance or the knowledge or the awareness that everybody comes from a different cut and have perspectives, positionalities, all these different things, and accepting where those people are coming from, understanding them. That's part of what we're talking about, right? Is communicating, is conscious communication. But the part of that is accepting, hey, yeah, you came from this childhood and this bad upbringing and whatnot. Not to say that people can't change. You can accept them where they are, and you can work together and communicate and unfold and grow and all those great things. But you still have to come to a point of acceptance of where they start and their journey as they grow.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a really good point, because it is, we all have our own experiences, and we all show up in relationships at different timelines in our lives. But having that understanding of, why do you feel the way that you do? Why are you experiencing it this way? And we've had some tough conversations around this, where we've had reactions to things that it's like, why are you reacting in this way? Or why are you acting in this way? And when you can kind of go, like, where does this emotion come from? Where does this stem from? What experience did you have that told you this is the way this experience was? Just in having that understanding, it can help make everything flow so much smoother.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I get that now. I'm not actually talking to you. I'm talking to a 5-year-old version of you that's showing up right now, that's feeling scared or feeling abandoned or rejected or whatever it might be. And in that, you can actually start to have a deeper awareness, a deeper communication style with each other.
Well, a deeper piece, right? And I think what hit me there was when you brought up the abandonment piece. It's like, if you can do that with your partner, you can do that with anybody, any of your relationships, right? So if you're accepting of where your parents were when you were being brought up, say you always hold a grudge against your parents because you had a bad childhood or whatever the case may be. But if you accept and understand where they were at that time, and you start digging and start thinking, okay, well, why was it this way? You start actually having compassion for these things.
Yeah. And
instead of being upset about, oh, I wasn't, whatever, my childhood was bad, you start looking at it and going, you know what, it was fun. It was what it needed to be. Yeah. I accept that it was perfect just the way it was.
Yeah. And
you can start looking at it, all of your relationships with your partner, with friends, family, etc., and go, yes, this is, all of that, all those judgments start to fall away, because you accept that this is just where people are.
Yeah.
And they're doing the best they can with what they have, and this is the journey they're on. So you're actually respecting their journey, and then all of that hate or that ill will or whatever, those bad feelings start to dissipate. And that's where that compassion piece comes in.
Well, and I think when you say, you respect the path that they're on, it's also about respecting what the divine plan is, right? And I had such a hard time with this, because I was like, well, how could this be a part of the divine plan? Like, why would God want to see them suffering in this way? Or why would God want to see me suffering in this way, or them acting in this way, or whatever? And it's like, God has a plan for this. God might not have planned that this person was going to be acting in this specific way exactly, but God has a plan for them, and God has a plan for you, and God has a plan for you and for me, and every single one of us across the globe is exactly where we need to be right now, having the awareness that we're having right now, being enlightened right now, and that's the beauty of it. But it's hard to understand that sometimes when you're seeing things that are showing up that go against what your morals are, what your beliefs are, what your limitations are, because it's learning how to accept this as this is God too, right?
Well, I mean, we're so easy. We can accept all these great things, right? We can accept, oh, you know, that, oh, I won the lottery and I'm successful and that's it. But we don't want to accept any of the bad stuff.
Yeah, and it's only what we've decided was bad.
Oh, yeah. Well,
right?
It's not only that, but only what we decided is bad that we will accept. Because there's always worse.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so in that, it's learning to see everything as this too is God, which can be difficult. The people that are showing up that have difficult emotions or presenting themselves in a difficult way, that they too are God, right? And you might not always be able to see it, because sometimes we've got all these masks on. We've got the mask of anger, the mask of fear, the mask of revenge, or whatever it might be. But underneath all of that, there is a divinity that's running through every single one of us. And so if you can see beyond how the person is showing up, what the actions are that the person's taking, and sometimes even the words that they're speaking, and remember that this too is God, right? It can help you in becoming more accepting of who everybody is and where they are on their journey. And I kind of equate it to weather, right? Like right now outside, it is gorgeous, it is sunny, it is hot. This is weather. Now tomorrow, if we have massive rain that comes in, this too is weather, despite whether I like it or not. If the following day we get hit by a hurricane, this too is weather. And again, not ideal situations, but it's still weather that's showing up. And that's where I go, like, it's still God. It doesn't matter how it's showing up. It's still a part of a divine plan, even though I might be in resistance to it or I might not like it.
Yeah. And well, what I was just thinking there was that, you know, we are a part of this collective where it is, we are God, universe, whatever. We are this energy together. So we're so easy to accept ourselves or not accept ourselves. And we do this to other people. But it's like, if we came to this understanding or this realization that, hey, you know what, we are all on the same team. We all face these things. We accept everybody where they're at. All of this will become so much easier for everybody, and you will start to see those divine paths play out just the way they need to. I mean, you will anyways, but you'll see it in a different light. Your eyes will change. Yeah.
And I think when it comes to, like, if you can see someone suffering, or you know something that's better for somebody else, right, than the choices that they're currently making. For myself, because of the work that I do, I've really struggled with this part of not telling people, well, just do this and just do this. I tend to see potentialities. I see what the possibilities are, and I'm like, hey, you could do this, and you could do this, and you could do this, instead of just accepting them for where they're at. But one of the things that has kind of helped me start to unravel from that is remembering when I was acting just the same way as what I'm seeing them act as, you know, and to remember that I only know differently now, and I can only see better possibilities now because I once got through the thing that they're struggling to get through right now.
Yeah, what was that quote? It was like, be careful about interrupting people's karma.
Before you step in to help someone, make sure you're not interrupting their karma first. Yes.
I think that is so beautiful, because it's like, we offer help, but and sometimes we save people, right? And it's like sometimes people don't need to be saved. They need to be able to save themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so hard for us to just accept. And here's the thing, I'm not saying don't help your neighbor or help your people or whatever. If you're called to that, absolutely. But there is times where people do need to step up to the plate for themselves.
Well, and even to have someone trust in them.
Yeah.
Like, I trust that you're going to be able to get through this. I trust that
Well, it's that
you've
trust
got
in
everything.
God, the universe, right? In that bigger plan that it will be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because if you're always stepping in to help because you can't accept the situation that someone is in, there's a good chance that you're interrupting what the divine plan is, or maybe you're part of the divine plan. And I think it's hard to know,
Well,
like,
it is. Yeah.
when am I supposed to?
Well, I think you are. If you're interacting with that, you're part of that plan, right?
Yeah.
It is just, some things you need to take a step back and you need to really listen, take those 2 seconds or the 1/10,000th of a second before, breathe, should I be doing this?
Yeah.
And then act from there.
Yeah. You know, it brings me back. There's a story. I don't know if this story is real or if it was just like one of those stories that they tell. It might be an urban legend kind of story. But essentially, there was this person who had a very strong faith in God. And they were, I think it was down in the States somewhere. There was a hurricane that came in. There was a lot of flooding. And one of the neighbors said to them, "Would you like to come in our vehicle and get yourself to safety?" And the person said, "No, it's fine. I've prayed to God and, I trust that God's going to save me. So you guys go ahead." And so the people drove off and the water started to rise. And then there was a little lifeboat that came along and it had rescuers in it. And the rescuers said, "Hey, come jump in our boat." And the person was like, no, it's fine. God is coming to save me. I've already prayed to God." And so the rescuers just continue on their way. And then a helicopter comes and a person drops down and they're like, "We're here to save you." And the guy's like, "No, it's fine. God is coming to save me." I guess it is an urban legend kind of story, because now that I'm getting to the end, I'm like, I guess we wouldn't have proof of this. Anyways, so he sends the rescuers off on their way, and the flood waters rise and rise and rise, and then he dies, and he goes up to heaven, and he says to God, like, "Why didn't you save me? I prayed, and I've held faith my entire life. Why didn't you save me?" And God was like, "I sent your neighbors. I sent the person on the lifeboat, and I sent the person in the helicopter. Why wouldn't you allow yourself to be saved?" So,
but you can't take that one more. I did save you. You're here.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Like.
Okay. Yeah.
You could take that.
Yeah. Both ways.
Here I'm offering this help. Oh, and that gets us to another point. It's not just only acceptance. It's seeing those things, right? Is seeing that help for what it is, or acknowledging when somebody's reaching out
and accepting that help. Yeah. Or even if you can't accept the help, if you've got too much pride in the way to be able to accept the help, to at least receive it and say, "Thank you so much, but I've got this."
Oh, yeah, but pride is one of those tricky things, right? It's like, I would say let somebody help you no matter what.
Yeah.
And I only say that because it gives somebody purpose. It gives them something. So now you're sharing a miracle. You're sharing a transcendence. You're sharing some good energy.
Yeah.
You may be able to do things yourself. I have no problems in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
But I have no problems with people helping me either.
Yeah.
And I encourage it. I'm like, "No, by all means, if you want to come, I will help you. I'll show you, I'll whatever." But I'm learning that more and more, because they've always been, "No, I'll do it. I'll do this, I'll do that, whatever, I'll do it all, doesn't matter." But now it's more, even at work, where it's like, "No, I'll show you how to do it. I'm not going to do all of this, or I want to transcend that information or that skill to somebody else. I don't want to own it myself forever. I don't want to be like, oh, we need to depend on here, if I can share this, everybody knows." And that's that much better. Right?
Well, and I think, like, with kids too, they often, little kids often want to help. They want to be able to contribute to the family in some way, and giving them tasks, even though it makes it harder, it makes it take longer, and sometimes it doesn't work out the way that perhaps you want it to look.
Yeah.
But it still helps to instill that confidence in them. And it's the same in relationships with adults, is when you do give them that opportunity to show up, to help, to, you know.
Well, that kind of goes back to that acceptance and somewhat expectation. When we were talking last week about expectations and saying, you know, like a birthday or whatever, a date, because we had talked about a date, because we had just went on a date. And just having that expectation of what that looks like, right? But on the other side of that is accepting regardless. Okay, it's not having that expectation of what that date looks like. It's accepting you had a date and this is what it looked like. Not, oh, I'm pissed off because it didn't look like this. Mm. It looked how it was supposed to look. It was how it was supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's really an opportunity to dive in deeper with yourself when you've got that resistance that's showing up, or you've got the expectations that are showing up that have you kind of going, hey, that wasn't supposed to be like that, or that's not how they're supposed to act, or I didn't like when they looked at me like this. It is all opportunity for you to go within yourself, to go either heal that part of you that's showing up, or give that part of you compassion for what is showing up, or bring yourself to a deeper understanding as to why you thought it was supposed to be this way.
Or it's an opportunity to get clear with your communication with your partner as well, right? If this was your expectation and this is what you've seen and this is how you've seen it, did they see it that way?
Yeah.
And if they didn't, then you need to get clear with your communication. If they did and they didn't act on it, then you need to dig into that a little deeper as to why. What was going on there? I mean, I would say it's hard to say this, but it's like you need to accept anything that somebody's going to do for you, because really that's an act of love, no matter what it is. They're doing something for you. You can do everything for yourself.
Yeah.
But even if it's just getting somebody a glass of water, that's still an act of love.
Yeah.
So accept that.
Yeah.
That's a great thing.
And so we've got expectations and we've got acceptance. Mm-hmm. But I think sometimes we will create, like, if you bring me water, right, and it's maybe it doesn't have ice in it, and then I get angry because there's not ice in it. Yeah. It's like, well, this isn't what I expected, and so you can get so angry instead of just accepting it. And then when you've got someone, say, bringing you a glass of warm water instead of cold water, and you're like, it was supposed to be cold, you can actually just kind of break apart the idea of them ever wanting to show up again, right? Over time. Maybe it's not just about a glass of water, but over time it's...
I would go back to that. That is you doing that to yourself.
Absolutely.
Your expectation is that a glass of water is with ice cubes at a certain temperature in a certain glass.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Well, yes.
I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit last week too, where it's like, you know, there is a common thread of, like, if you ask for a glass of water, you're not expecting a hot glass of water or a glass of ice. You're expecting a glass of water, however that shows up.
Yeah. Yes. I'm just saying that it's amazing how quickly, and here's the thing, I can only speak on this because I know I used to be this way when I was much younger, is having a very clear idea of what I thought other people were supposed to show up as, and then being disappointed time and time and time again, and getting angry and getting upset and like, oh, you don't even care about me, you didn't put ice in my glass. Like, seriously, I've had arguments with people that I don't know about ice specifically, but I can just feel it, like, in my body going, yeah, I've done that. I've absolutely done that. But it's like, wow, to just shift your mind to be like, wow, you got me a glass of water. You didn't even need to get me a glass of water. Nothing was required for you to get me a glass of water, and yet you did it for me. And just coming from that state, even last week, maybe this is why I'm talking about water, but last week as we were on here and talking, he had gotten us both a glass of water before we had gotten on the conversation. But something had gotten on the ice, we think, and my water just tasted like garlic.
Yeah.
Like it was gross. And so I was like doing the conversation and sipping on the water because I was thirsty. But every time I sipped it, I was like, this is so disgusting. But I just kept drinking it.
There was an opportunity right there for conscious communication. What is this?
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt our live.
Yeah.
Anyways, every experience, every time someone shows up for you or gives you something, gifts you something, brings you a glass of water, it is an opportunity to be like, wow, they didn't even need to. You know, and I think a lot of us carry expectations as to how people are supposed to show up or what they're supposed to do or how they're supposed to act or whatever. And when we do that, we just start to create this separation between us where in accepting whatever they bring and just feeling like everything they bring is gold. Like, you know, with kids, they'll bring you like a dandelion, you know, and you're just like, oh, wow, thank you so much. It's a beautiful flower and da 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 da. Like, you know, and you even use that voice.
Yeah.
But if it's your partner that's bringing you a dandelion and you're just like, thanks. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's a completely different reaction to it. And I mean, I do this often in our family, but I try to show appreciation for the things that I really like.
Yeah.
Right? So if you say something that I really like, I'm like, wow, thank you for saying that.
Right?
Yes,
that
it's positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just appreciating gets you more of what it is that you want. And it can be the smallest thing. I remember, like, with the kids, just saying to Odin specifically, like, thank you so much for going to the park with me. I had a great time when we went to the park. Thanks so much for taking me to the skate park today. And it not only encourages him to give gratitude.
Yeah, they'll start to emulate that, right? And same with your partner or whatever. They'll start, oh, you want to give? Or I'll give too. Or, I'll, you know.
The competition of giving.
Yes. Yeah. And here's the thing, too. I mean, last week with the glass of water, you accepted the glass of water, even though it tasted like crap.
Yeah, it was gross.
But that's also, just using that analogy, was an opportunity, right? To say, hey, this could be better.
Yeah, but...
What are you trying to poison me?
No, because my thought was like, I must have like a really bad taste in my mouth every time I drink the water. I'm just tasting the bad taste, right? So
I'm just using that as an analogy
responsibility for it.
For other people. So you don't have to just... Yes, accept that this is being done. It's very nice. Thank you very much. But if it's not meeting your expectation, have the conversation.
Yeah.
Don't take that in and go, yeah, I'm just going to accept it, and this isn't reaching my highest or whatever, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Have the conversation. Say, hey, you know what? This glass of water. I'm glad you grabbed me a glass of water. Thank you very much. Next time, you know, can you make sure the ice doesn't have garlic in it? Or whatever.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, there's an easier way to...
No, because when we got off the live, I was like, can you taste this?
Did you expect to have garlic in your water? I tasted it. It was terrible. It was terrible. But,
yeah.
But I'm just saying, in those harder conversations, you can move through these things in a very similar fashion.
Yeah.
Right?
And I would encourage, like, if you're in a partnership where maybe you're showing up and you're doing everything you can to please your partner and it just seems like they're pissed off or upset or disappointed with what you're doing, ask them, you know, what is the resistance to this? You know, be willing to engage in that conversation, understanding that it might not come out the way that you want it to, and they might say some hurtful things if they're in like a state of resentment or whatever. But by just opening that door to say, let's talk about this. Or if you're a person who's in resentment and you're in disappointment and you're upset about the way that your partner is showing up, to say, let's have a conversation about this and let's really just understand, why is this happening the way that it is? But for you to really be honest about what are your expectations and what parts that they're bringing in can you just not accept for yourself.
Oh, I'm just going to say, it goes back to the challenge we had with the jar or the cup or whatever, right? About, you know, if it is not the right time to have those discussions, or if it comes up, and write it down, put it in the cup. put it in a jar, put it in whatever it is, then bring that back up because it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And then it's going to come up at the worst time, and you could have had this conversation at a civil whatever at a great time where things could have worked out or could have worked through easily. Because we forget, right? Sometimes things come up and then you start throughout your day and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then 2 weeks later, the same thing comes up and you're like, oh, I was mad about it before. Now I'm even more mad because there was no resolution to it, even though your partner has no idea what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you do that challenge and they have the opportunity to pull it and go, oh, I didn't know that you were upset about this or you had a positionality on this, it gives you an awareness of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And to try and stay in a state of curiosity about that, right? Like it's so often that I know we've done it. I know it happens in other people's relationships where you bring an issue to the table and the person gets defensive and this person feels attacked and and it just goes back and forth, and it's almost like it's not even worth talking about it because it's just going to create something much bigger than what this small issue is. But if you can stay in a state of curiosity for both people to just go, you know, I'm willing, let's look further into this. Let's dig deeper into this. That's where the good stuff is, right? That's where the magic can start to happen. And it's accepting whatever it is that they're sharing with you. That's their level of truth in that moment, right? And if you need to know more, you can ask more and get more curious and like, let's dig into this further and further and further until you're both at a state where it's like, okay, I understand now. I understand all of the parts that are showing up and why this is all acting out this way.
And I guess, you know, thinking about accepting, you have to accept where somebody is, but you don't have to transform yourself to be in the same field. You know what I mean? Like, accept it. Like, a child or a teenager, you can accept where they're at in their development, but you don't have to lower yourself to the way they're behaving. So you can accept your partner. Oh, you know, they're stubborn, they're this, they're that. That doesn't mean you have to become that person. You don't have to accept where they are. You don't have to continue to like put up with it. You can have those conversations. You can work through it. But you still have to accept this is this person.
Yeah.
This is where they're showing up, how they're showing up, and what you choose to do with that is really
going to be up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because here's the thing is you don't have to accept behaviors or even your partner anymore if you've been, you know, working and trying to get yourselves to a deeper level of understanding or move past old grievances and that sort of thing, and they're just not willing to do the work. You don't have to accept them for that anymore, right? You're allowed to change your mind, which also comes back to that self-acceptance where I think starting with the self and accepting everything that is true for you and allowing yourself to move through all those emotions. I think that's the key, or the number one key, when it comes to acceptance, is just understanding yourself and having that self-acceptance. And then it can start to transcend into other relationships as well.
Yep.
And honestly, I think when it comes to partnership, it's probably the most difficult relationship for acceptance. Where with kids, we tend to just have more acceptance for the different levels of awareness for children. Where with partners, you tend to go, well, you should know this already.
But that's what I'm saying. This is where our expectations are.
Absolutely.
Right? It's like, yes, we accept this from children, but we don't accept this from adults. And I know the behaviorisms are different, but some people are still stuck.
I was just going to say, most adults are still, like, they're adults, they're in an adult body, but there's broken children inside that are still looking for love, that are still looking for acceptance, that are still looking to belong, they're still looking for connection, you know, and yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, the term I use a lot, it goes with acceptance, it's like that, and then what, right? It's like, okay, if you didn't have a good glass of water, well, what do? You dump it down the drain. oh, or you get a new glass of water, or like you always go to that next step. But it's always okay. I accept that this doesn't taste good, but I can do something about it. And then what? Then I get a new glass of water. Then I feel refreshed. Then
Yeah. Yeah. And then just one last point that I want to make about acceptance is it's not personal. That's a big one, because a lot of us tend to believe that everything is happening to us.
Oh, yes.
Right? It's not happening through us. It's not happening for us. It's all happening to us, and it's all against us. And when you're making it personal, as most of us do, when you're making it personal, it's much easier to step into resistance with it, because then we think the world is against me, or my boss is against me, or my family is against me, or...
But it's not really you, right? It's your ego that's...
Yes.
It's your ego is self-supporting itself, making it against you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So when you can just go, okay, so this is showing up in my field. This is not personal, right? Telling yourself this is not personal, because understand, however someone else is showing up in your field, however life is showing up in your field, it's a reflection, right? So they might be projecting onto you pains that they have not been able to heal yet, or beliefs that they have not really argued with themselves with yet, or noticed whether or not it's a belief that they actually want to carry. So when they're showing up in a way, they're just showing you more of what they need to heal, more so than what is a reflection of you. The external circumstances, when they're showing up, we often add a lot of personalization to them, right? It's not a reflection of you. What you react to it with is a reflection of you. How you react to the people who are triggering you, that's a reflection of you. And so this is all an opportunity to go, okay, what do I, like, if I've got something showing up and I'm just going into anger and I'm ready to fight it, well, now I see that I'm just angry, or this part of me is just angry, and I'm, becoming that because I think it's personal. I think I need to protect myself, or really the ego thinks, oh, we better protect Catherine now, so we're going to get angry and we're going to get her fired up and whatever. But again, it's not personal.
And going, you were using the weather as an analogy before. It's like, and I'm going to use it again. Oh, the weather's against me. Everything's against me. Oh, it's raining today. Of course it's raining today because I'm a bad person. And
I was planning on doing
and
this.
This is all your ego is going, yes, you are. Yes. You're, all of this bad stuff is for you because you are who you are. And that is all just nonsense.
Yeah.
It just is all happening.
Yeah. And how we personalize it, it really starts to define us. In the way that, like, understand that our narration, so the ego, the voice inside of our head, if it's, in resistance to the weather, like, oh, I was supposed to go to the park today, and then I was going to go to a concert tonight outside, and now it's raining, and now I can't, and, oh, this world's against me, the weather's against me, my life sucks, and nothing ever works out my way, and we can, like, just go on, like, a train of all these thoughts, of all this narration that isn't actually supportive of us at all.
But then you're manifesting that stuff into your reality.
Exactly. You're speaking it, you're creating it for yourself, because these are what the beliefs are really thinking. But for you to kind of pause and go, oh, that's interesting. It's raining today. Was not expecting that. Oh, maybe we're not going to go to the park today. I wonder if we can find something else to do. Maybe the concert tonight, maybe the weather will be cleared up. Let me check my weather app and see what's happening there. What else could we do? I'm feeling kind of disappointed. I'm going to sit with my disappointment for a bit and just allow myself to be with it, instead of creating an entire narration about what this means.
Yeah, that's where I kind of go in, and using the weather again, where it's like, accept that, okay, it's not bad, or it's not, weather is just the weather. And I had this conversation with my ego, because my ego's like, see, everybody's against you, the weather's even against you. It's like, okay, I hear you, we're here together, let's just go through this. It is not happening to you, it is just happening. And it's okay, well, I'm here with you, ego, We can get through this together. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, and it's really making sure the ego's not the one driving the bus, right?
Right.
It reminds, I don't know what cartoon or if this was just in a lot of cartoons when we were kids, but do you remember like the one lone character who would walk away and they'd be sad and there's like the little rain cloud that follows them and it's like just raining on them and it's like sunny around everyone else? That's kind of what it's like when the ego takes over.
Well,
You know?
Not all the time, because the ego can be both ways. Bipolar, right? But the ego can be a range of everything and anything.
Absolutely, but in that moment of like when you're making things personal and you're like, oh, this world is against me, it is like that rain cloud that's
absolutely.
showing up and just following you around and trailing on you and creating a narrative that most likely on a good day you would not allow anybody to give you that narrative. Right? But we have to be just as wary with ourselves and the thoughts that are going through our minds to go, am I willing to accept this as my truth? You know, my ego's telling me I'm a piece of shit right now. Am I willing to accept that as my truth? No.
Yeah, see, I was having an argument with my ego. That's why my ego had to say, no, we're not always bad. We're good too. I had to accept that my ego had to speak on that.
Yeah, well, and you're right, because the ego will show up and it does do good things. It's what allows us to be on here right now talking, going, I have something important to say. Thanks, ego. And then hopefully it's all divinity that's coming through us as we give the ego the voice, but then really allow divinity to speak through us. So the ego has many characteristics, and I've joked before about having hand puppets to really show the characterizations of egos, and I still might do that, but...
Cartoons coming.
Yes. Anyways, it is that time again for us to reach into our jar and find a question. Yes. And before I pull out this question, just a reminder to everybody to comment, send in your questions, anything that you're going through or dealing with when it comes to relationships. Doesn't matter if it's partnership or with family members, children, whatever.
Or something you want us to talk about on the show, or something that, you know, have we faced this? We faced a lot of things. We haven't faced everything, but I think we faced a good portion of things through our relationship.
Yeah.
And we're pretty open to talk about just about anything. So by all means, we're here for you.
Yes. So as always, you guys can write into info@compassionwithkatherine.com or visit the website www.compassionwithkatherine.com, and we are happy to answer any questions or comments that you might have. So for this week's question, can money buy happiness?
No.
No.
And I accept that. But how does that play into our topic of conversation? Can money buy happiness?
So
I mean, we're both firm on that. No.
Yeah.
Can money? Well, I guess we could say we can accept that money can emulate happiness.
It can provide you more freedoms, I think, that feel like happiness. Right? Like the opportunity to travel or to go back to school, or even just the relief of like all of my bills are paid, or you know, the mortgage is paid this month, or whatever. There's a certain level of happiness that does come because money is available to take care of those things, right? That's what I believe anyways. But is happiness completely connected to money? No. Because I look back like when you and I first started dating and we had zero. Like,
we had a cardboard box. Not really, but we joked
about moving into a cardboard box with each other.
And she made me a little cardboard box, and I had it for the longest time.
Yeah.
Lost my cardboard box.
Yes, but we were very happy at that point in time. Like we were in the feels of falling in love and bringing our families together and everything, and it felt like this is an opportunity for us. And so we had happiness. We did not have money. So happiness and money, they can coexist, but you don't need money for happiness.
No, I would agree 100%.
And at the same time, I also want to say, like, to bring it back into our conversation, I think when it comes to acceptance, there's a few different, like my mind's kind of going, blah, 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 because you can reject happiness.
Yeah.
Because you don't have money, You can also reject money because you think I need to be happy, and if I reject money, then I can have happiness because money doesn't buy happiness. But happiness to me is just an emotion,
Yeah.
just the same as anger, as sadness, or whatever. It's constantly changing. So don't reject money so that you can find happiness or peace or freedom or anything. Yeah.
And don't look for happiness within money, and don't look for money within happiness, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of twofold.
Yeah,
it's all within.
Yeah, I'm still trying to understand how that brings it into acceptance, because we always talk about how the question is going to...
It's accepting. Can money buy happiness? No. It's accepting that, and accepting the alternate to that.
Fair enough.
And how that plays out, it exactly that way. And maybe I'm wrong, but
we'll see. Alrighty, so thank you everybody who joined in on this conversation tonight. We look forward to returning next Sunday night to have another conversation with you.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to talk about, and I really hope that our viewers send us some comments and some suggestions, because we love to share our relationship, our communication, our help, whatever we can do. But you know, we always look for a little bit of help, and your suggestions would be greatly appreciated.
Yes. Have a great night, everybody.
Take care, folks.